Welcome into Rover Sports. It is Wednesday, and tonight it's time to dissect and have an even deeper discussion on the New York Giants and the state of affairs. I'm prepared to make a 10 to 15 minute statement regarding the New York Giants. I think that the New York Giants not only have people followed me to hear Giants opinions, and they are my favorite team, although I do like San Francisco 49ers. The Giants are probably the most compelling team in the NFL draft. Well, one of the top four. You have Cleveland, the Giants, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills. So right now, I'm going to lay out everything that I believe about this number 2 draft pick. I'm going to tell you all the scenarios, and I'm going to come clean on a lot of stuff, be open and transparent, because I think that openness and transparentness makes a good radio broadcast, makes a good podcast when it comes from a place that is really true, that is not for clickbait, and some stuff is going to be juicier. The Odell Beckham story might be clickbait for a lot of people. And trading Odell Beckham, those opinions still kind of are radiating through your head, but sometimes your mind mellows out, and sometimes your mind flat out evolves. And for sports broadcasters, we can often have second opinions on a lot of things. So I'm going to say some things now about the New York Giants that maybe I'm going to explain in the more detail now what we can project to happen. So the New York Giants right now, I don't think that they're going to trade the pick, and I'll tell you why. Because the New York Jets have called the Cleveland Browns, and there's no reason why Mike Maccagnan would not call Dave Gettleman the trade to 6. And if the New York Giants were at 6, they would get a premium player. They wouldn't get Nelson or Barkley per se, but you'd have Fitzpatrick. You would have good players that are in. You would have an option of an elite linebacker. You'd still really get a great prospect. So that means if you look between the lines that the Giants are not trading with the Jets, that the New York Giants probably value someone at the number 2 pick that is a can't-miss prospect. So there's 3 guys that the Giants can look at as can't miss, okay? The first prospect is quarterback Josh Rosen. I think the Giants like Rosen. I think he fits into New York and the scheme, and I don't think it's Josh Allen. I don't think it's Baker Mayfield. And Sam Darnold is going to be selected by the Cleveland Browns with the number 1 overall pick. They are not going to take a chance on their quarterback sliding down. So the Giants could be considering Josh Rosen at 1, Saquon Barkley at the number 2 pick, because Saquon Barkley is a guy that can be a transcendent running back in this NFL that is a big-time talent. So Saquon is the number 2 guy, possibly the number 2 option for the New York Giants. Or he is a transcendent running back prospect that the Giants are looking at drafting. Then you have a guy that is New Jersey, a guy in Quenton Nelson that has grown up a Giants fan, fits the personality of New York Giants, is an old school player that is rare to find in this day and age. In fact, a guy that is not into the glitz and glamour, is not about the celebrity, but he's about bulldozing people. He's about loving the game. He's about living a modest lifestyle. And unlike Justin Pugh and Eli Apple, he is not an Eagles fan. He is a diehard New York Giants football fan since he was a toddler. He cares more about the Giants than any other prospect in this class will. He is New Jersey. He is exactly what the 86 Giants were built on. Toughness, physicality, and loyalty. And it's a very endearing story if Quenton Nelson were to come home and were to play for the New York Giants. And he would be a guy that would come in and be a stable for the offensive line and for Giants culture for 12 years. He'd be drafted a Giant, and God willing, with good health, if he's drafted by the Giants, he lives a healthy NFL career and he can retire a New York Giant and be a Hall of Famer. Saquon Barkley, the same thing. So you look at Saquon. If it's between Saquon and Quenton Nelson, because of everything I just said, you would think that I'm going Quenton Nelson, but an offensive guard is not a transcendent enough position for me. You need a superstar, and that's why if you keep the number 2 pick in the draft, what I would do is, as of right now, I honestly would trade back with the Buffalo Bills for all those picks, because I would like Mike McClinchy as a right tackle, I would like Will Hernandez from UTEP, and I'd like Sony Michel. I would like Josie Jewell, and I'd like Anthony Miller of Memphis. I'd like those 5 players. But if you're keeping the number 2 pick, you draft Saquon Barkley. The guy is as safe of a prospect as you're going to have, very good character, and the guy gets as low as any running back prospect. He's really hard to bring down. He has great stamina, and he's a guy that can hit home runs during the game, and he can take over a game and carry you throughout your football journey. He's a guy that can play for you 8-9 years and could be like a Peterson player. He won't play as long as Nelson, but his effectiveness will be very good. Again, praying for good health. Let's address the elephant in the room, the quarterback situation. And I'm going to be transparent, but I'm going to lay out in an honest way how I have grown. When I looked at Josh Rosen a couple months ago, I looked at a player that failed to get UCLA over 8 wins. I looked at a player that some high school coaches did not like to work with. I looked at a player that some teammates did not consider to be one of their guys. And from that point, I have moved on and matured, or I've moved on and investigated and kept an open mind. And I'm willing to admit that Josh Rosen is a very intelligent young man. He's a guy that a lot of teammates do in fact like. He is not like every personality in this draft. He's a love-or-hate guy. And if you're going to like Mayfield, Josh Rosen is certainly going to be appealing to a lot of people. Josh is so cerebral, incredibly smart, and his floor, he will never be a backup in this league. If Sam Bradford's always a starter, Josh Rosen, there is no way that this guy will not cooperate at this level, meaning he is not going to throw up all over himself. He's not going to be a Nate Peterman. He's not going to be a guy that is Paxton Lynch, that is unprepared for this level. He's going to step in, and when his number is called, he's going to be productive. He is going to be a guy that makes a few Pro Bowls. He's going to start in this league for the longest time, and he's going to be a guy that you can rely on. Or he's going to be a guy that will be a starter for 10 years, 12 years. For the New York Jets, Josh Rosen is perfect. That's a franchise that has no quarterback, that has never had a quarterback since Joe Namath, and an organization that needs stability. The New York Giants, I'll say this, we have Eli Manning. We've had stability at that position. We are very fortunate to have that. We've had Super Bowls. We've had a guy that can throw the ball in any which way, and a guy whose arm strength is unquestioned, a guy whose leadership is unquestioned, and a guy that with 2 minutes left in the game, no matter the stage, will show great poise and will lead you to promised land victories. And Eli has done that for this franchise. And for that, I'm, grateful forever. And, again, we're going to be in Canton together. When Eli, when it's his time, we're going to be in Canton watching him. Eli at this age is old. He doesn't have the arm that he once had, which has always been a very good elite NFL arm. I'm not talking about a guy who can throw 70 yards, but a guy who can throw 60 and who can throw bullets and can throw any which throw. The throw to Manningham, the throw to Larry Donnell on the back shoulder. People question how talented Eli is. They look at Phillip and his consistency, and even though you'd get picks with Eli Manning's a quarterback that his heart is unquestioned, but he's a guy that I know he was drafted number 1, but he's a talent. He's a guy that would make throws, wow throws, deep ball throws, whether that's to Cruz, Beckham, out routes, whatever. Eli, during his career, had that ability to do that and get as hot as anybody. He's streaky, yes, but he could get hot. And not a lot of guys can get as hot as he can get. But moving on to Rosen. I believe that Davis Webb, with everything I said about Josh Rosen, he does not bring a team together like Davis Webb will. His heart, his intangibles are good, but it is not Baker, it is not Davis Webb, it is not Tom Brady, it is not Carson Wentz or Jimmy Garoppolo. It is more like Rodgers, where he's going to be executing on one side of the ball, he's going to get along with his teammates fine, but when it comes down to the end, are people going to risk their careers and lives to help protect him and block him? And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. What I'm saying is that he's more of a cerebral thinker. He is not a guy that is just willing to, get dirty, get his elbows dirty. He's not willing to go out on that field and just sacrifice it all. When I look at Davis Webb, that's a guy who has a heart, the best heart, the heart of a lion. And when you look at Davis and his intangible value, he's a guy that, unless the Giants are watching tapes and unless he's like Tebow and physically he doesn't have the gifts, if Webb has gifts, if Webb has enough talent, which I believe he does, there's no denying that the kid will be a star in this league. There are not kids that come out like Davis Webb. I relate it to Moses and Pharaoh and Moses, getting casted away down the Nile River. I believe that Ben McAdoo, for all his turmoil and how evil that he brought the franchise and how heartless he was, he inadvertently brought the Giants maybe their greatest gift of all time with the 87th pick. I am willing to give everything towards the Davis Webb foundation. The guy can throw. He will work. He will bring the franchise together. Eli trusts Davis Webb. Davis Webb is a harder worker than Josh Rosen. Davis Webb is a special player that will elevate everybody in that locker room and everybody around him. Josh Rosen will be good for an offensive team, but Josh is not a guy that people want to go to war with as much as Davis Webb. Davis Webb, the intangible values that he will bring from a leadership standpoint. Davis Webb, before he got to Cal, he called every receiver before he even got to Berkeley and asked them if he could throw with them and book up throwing sessions. He goes to bed every night at 10:30. He writes down 20 plays each week that he wants to implement into a game. His whole life is football. He doesn't know anything else. You look at Josh Rosen, his life is more than football. It's politics. It's should athletes get paid. It's I play quarterback, but I don't want to let that define me. Which, again, I'm not saying is a bad way to live. I'm just saying what I would prefer as a Giants fan, as a guy who would root for the team. I believe letting go of Davis Webb would be a huge, huge mistake that would haunt the franchise for a long, long time. Saquon Barkley is my final verdict. Will Josh Rosen be a bust? He will not. Is there a chance that the coaching staff sees fatal flaws that will prevent Davis Webb from ever being an accountable starter, which is not great pocket awareness, a slow release, not the strongest of deep ball throwers? Is he a Mason Rudolph? Is he incapable of throwing the ball 60 yards, of throwing it hard, of making second-level throws? If he's incapable, then there's nothing that leadership and heart can do, because you've seen that with Tebow. But I believe that Davis can get stronger. I believe, like Aaron Rodgers, that this player, Davis Webb, can get to a level that Giants fans and that we will be proud of and that we can call our guy. Davis Webb mimics Eli Manning. He has given up his life for this franchise. He moves to New Jersey to throw. He is with Eli every single day. It will be the smoothest transition Pat Shurmur has to make in his career with Davis Webb. I'm willing to go on this line right now on this podcast and say it right now. And I could be so wrong about this like I am so many things. I believe Davis Webb will win multiple Super Bowls. And I believe that he will be a Hall of Famer. I will say that. At the very worst, if I'm wrong, Davis Webb is going to be a guy that starts 8-9 years. He is a franchise quarterback, and somebody will be happy. At the very worst, he's Kirk Cousins. Davis Webb will be special. He will be one of the great ones. And you need to be patient and not be impatient. You need to give Davis Webb an opportunity. If you draft Josh Rosen, let Davis compete with Josh. Let them see how they lead. Look more than just throwing the ball. And see who wins. May the best man win in that case. Do not trade him. Do not trade him. Do not. That I am firm about. If it was up to me, if I was running the Giants, my list of options, I would trade back the pick. I really believe so. To fill out the entire team. To get the offensive lineman needed. I don't think one player replaces 8. So I would trade with Buffalo. If not, I'm drafting Saquon. And my third and last option is Quenton Nelson. I believe Rosen will be a very good quarterback. We have the quarterback here in Davis Webb. If you believe in Rosen, he's never played an NFL game. There's no reason why I can't believe in a guy that also hasn't played an NFL game. I'm entitled to my opinion. And I could be wrong. And the reason I'll be wrong is that Davis simply does not have the skill set. But from I've watched, I believe he can have the skill set. I believe he can make enough throws to be successful. If the Giants, there are 3 options for me. Again, trade back is 1. Saquon is 2, and Quenton Nelson is 3. If they select a quarterback, I believe that is I believe that that's a huge, massive mistake. I wouldn't like it. And if Rosen is the Giants quarterback, I'll support him to win games because I'm a fan. I hope the Giants will win games. Just when it comes when the buck hits the road, game is on the line. Is he going to be the guy that delivers you Super Bowl moments and championships and does that on a consistent basis in fights? Is he going to do that? Is he going to be a fighter? Or is he going to be Matt Ryan? A guy who can peak up every now and then, but is he going to fight? And are you just going to cast away Davis Webb into the abyss? These are questions that we're going to find out. I've given you my answers. I've given you my time. I hope you appreciated it. It's 20 minutes. It might be long, but I needed to say this, and I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to get this off of my chest and give you guys some more options to comment on this video. Thank you.